Tonight we're hosting the Principal Secretary, State Department for Culture, the Arts and Heritage, Ummi Bashir, who joins us on set. The just concluded Mashujaa Day celebrations were quite a success, and then the State Department was heavily involved, of course, in organizing for that day. Let's just take stock of Kenya's cultural pulse. Thank you very much, PS, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
To start with, how did you assess the success of Mashujaa Day, having been involved and heavily so with the organization of the event?
I would say that this year's Mashujaa Day was very successful.
Okay.
And I cannot take the whole credit. I'll give credit to the a saga called Heroes Council, which is in charge of matters heroes and heroines. And State Department for Culture, Arts and Heritage worked very closely with the council, that is at the National Heroes Council. What we did was basically give it to the people of Kenya to see who is a Shujaa. And of course, we can't go without mentioning and acknowledging our main star and our main Shujaa of this year, who is Baba Jacom, the late, may he rest in peace. And him, we cannot compare the history that is there with him politically and even developmentally in this nation. Back to the State Department of Culture, Arts and Heritage. This is the third time we're doing and awarding the Shujaas of this nation. And this has been since the year 2014 when the Act came in place for Heroes Council. And it was not implemented. Heroes is a saga that literally came into being about 3 years ago. And it's doing so well because we have awarded 186 heroes this year. And this is across the board. So we have 14 categories of heroes, of Shujaas. And we put this to the public. We publish in the newspapers for Kenyans to say who is a hero, who you deem fit to be a hero from your corner of the nation. It can be anybody you deem fit for the 14 categories. So the 14 categories are like human rights, cultural and indigenous knowledge, we have research and innovation, we have philanthropy, we have environmental heroes, we have sports heroes, and so on. So it is not Ummi Bashir who says, I am a hero. So someone has to recommend me, and we go and do our research as a State Department. Does this person really deserve to be a hero? And is it just a mediocre game, or how then do you qualify? So the Act gives you pointers on what to follow. So once we advertise, they apply, and this was done around July of this year. And then around in September, we put it out for public participation for the names now that were shortlisted, for the nation now to say, listen, you've shortlisted so-and-so, but there's a problem, there's a hiccup, there's something you missed. So we give the nation and the people of Kenya an opportunity to guide and say, listen, no, that's not the way. It should be, this person should not be awarded. And the reasons, there has to be tangible reasons. There have to be affidavit sworn. So it's not a walk in the park. So there's a lot of rigorous exercises that go on behind the scenes before the 20th of October, where His Excellency the President now awards us a medal to the Shujaa. There's a certificate that is given, and we hope that this year we'll gazette our Shujaas, because as I said, this is the third year that we're actually actualizing this dream of appreciating our heroes as a nation.
This 186 that you mentioned, beyond the ceremony, does it end there, or what is your involvement as a State Department in terms of ensuring that they continue to contribute to the culture of the Republic of Kenya?
Yeah, so that's a good question. First of all, once you're awarded as a hero, it's not monetary. There's no money that you're given because you're a hero, but it's for the hard work you've done as a Shujaa. So we work closely with you as a Shuja, and we keep watching you because you can be degazetted and we can take back our award anytime. So your character and demeanor has to resonate with the fact that you are awarded by His Excellency the President. Even beyond.
Okay.
So once you're a hero, we are working with the National Museums of Kenya, Kenya Wildlife Services, Immigration Department to see how we can fast-track services and even give these Shujas a different treatment, in the sense of, if it's queuing, you have a different card that shows that you're a hero and you deserve a certain presentation in terms of favorism, so to speak, because now you're a hero and there's a reason why you were nominated and awarded as a hero. So if you go to the national park, we are working with KWS in such a way that the prizes, the amount that you're supposed to pay is not the usual park fees that you're supposed to pay. When you go to the National Museums of Kenya, your children might go in free, or yourself, depending on the occasion. So it's not monetary, but we track and we keep eyes on you for a minute, because it does not end with that day of the 20th of October and we close the chapter. That said and done, the Act also catapults you to a certain standard of recognition and also appreciation from the government of Kenya. And that is a great honor, because we are millions in this country, but you were picked among the chosen few. So it is a great honor. And then we follow up. Do you then, as an environmental conservationist, do you go back and plant more trees, or do you now go and sit at home, relax and say, I got the award, I'm done? So we follow up on how then do we ensure that you maintain this demeanor, this honor that you've been given.
All right.
Yeah.
I have to admit, not so many people knew that that process is that rigorous in terms of identifying the heroes. And of course, this job being done by the National Heroes Council. But tell us, are there any plans by the State Department, and of course in conjunction with the National Heroes Council that is under you, in terms of expanding this process to make it more inclusive, or give it more publicity?
First of all, as Kenyans, we need to be in touch with newspapers and get communications in order, because we communicate. We put it in the newspapers and it's on our website as the National Heroes Council. So probably we could say we could improve our reachability to the people at the bottom of the pyramid by ensuring that we even talk about the awards at the local radio stations, in the local dialects, so that every person in Kenya, because they're heroes who we cannot reach. A hero who saves a child from being eaten by a crocodile. You know, it's only that person or that chief, that villager who lives there, who knows that person is a hero. Me sitting in my office in Nairobi, I cannot award this person a hero because I don't know. So the person who knows that story has to communicate and say, look, I recommend that this person X becomes a hero because of 1, 2, 3. Secondly, communication is key. And as a State Department, we're working towards ensuring that our awards are not only recognized on the 20th of October in the news and in the media, but the people back at home, the grassroots level heroes, get an opportunity. And you know, we cannot award everybody at a go. As a regime, when we came into office, we took the heroes very seriously. We took into account the fact that there are people who are not celebrated as they should. And that is why, as the National Treasury, we put so much funds into ensuring that the Heroes Council is facilitated and it is supported financially. Yes.
Idoko Stadium will remain, I think, etched in the minds of the people of Kitui, for example, being a major infrastructural project, but also as a representation of their culture. I'm talking about now cultural infrastructure. What is the State Department doing to ensure that there is cultural infrastructure within the 47 county governments? Because per se, you would say they are custodians of Kenya's culture in a sense.
Since 2023, we've been rotating where the national holidays actually happen. For instance, we've been to Kitale, we've been to Kwale last year. The year before it was Kericho. And we have also been to Embu, and so on. We're trying to get to the people themselves. We don't want to centralize celebrating our cultures and our heritage by doing so from Nairobi and from Nyayo Stadium or Kasarani. So His Excellency the President deemed fit that we should go to the people. Not everybody can come to Nairobi to celebrate, from Turkana to Lamu to Nyanza. So taking this around makes it easier for us to resonate with the people, and also the culture, the assets, the heritage that we have in each and every of the 47 counties comes to life. It comes to be seen across the nation and even globally. And that is why in Kitui the other day, we saw, thanks to PPMC in conjunction with the committee that actually did this work and Heroes Council, we saw that the talent that we want to nurture and bring out in that specific on that specific day was the art, the music, and the creativity of the Kamba people coming from Kitui. So when we go to a county like, let's say, Wajir, we want to resonate. We want the music, the culture, the foods, the cuisines of that particular community. And I think going around these different counties makes every culture and every community feel appreciated, because Nairobi is a beautiful county, but basing everything here will not bring out what we want to bring out in terms of our heritage, in terms of our cultures. The fact that His Excellency the President has been doing stadiums across everywhere we are holding any national day, any national holiday. So if, for instance, it's Mandera, we will fix that stadium. And that is good, because that is how we trickle down investment, infrastructure, development to the counties. And there's no better day to celebrate this than days that are of importance to the nation of Kenya. For instance, Jamhuri Day, we have Mashujaa Day, and so on.
The 186 heroes, there was quite a blend. But what caught my eye was the number of artists, particularly musicians, who were being featured in these last celebrations. Jua Kali was among them. He's a contemporary musician. So in terms of this owner by the State Department, how are you supporting these contemporaries? And I'm talking about musicians, to further the agenda of the Kenyan culture, even when obviously it looks like it is evolving, that they evolve also in the culture.
Yeah. I come from a generation that really appreciates the likes of Jua Kali, Bitza Clemo, Gengeton, and so on. So for me, and my age group, I find him to be a hero in terms of arts. And that is how he came in, as an arts hero, because of creativity and music. So if we do not appreciate this originals in terms of music as a Kenyan nation, it becomes disheartening, because right now we have the young generations with Angukanayo and so on. It will come a time where we will celebrate them and also reward them. But as it is, we don't want to leave behind anybody. And as the State Department for Culture, Arts and Heritage, we are trying to come up with a Kenyan musicians museum where we will appreciate the likes of Clemo, the likes of Jua Kali, Red Sun, and so on. And the first step we could take was award them as heroes. The second one will definitely be have a museum, a state-of-the-art museum, whereby we showcase, Isa, the late Isa, Nameless, and the like, because we want our generations, our kids to appreciate the creativity that was there before the current generation that is there. So for me, I would say that working closely with talent giants of music should not go unnoticed, because there is no one who can work as an island. You can't be an island as an artist, especially. So as a State Department, we capacity build. We use the Kenya Cultural Center to ensure that these artists come and showcase their talents. So if encouraging them and putting them up as a hero, and then giving them roles to play in terms of making money, because it does not stop with just being an artist. Art is not about fun and games. It's about also making money. It's not about a dope thing to do. It's also a means of putting food on the table for your family.
In terms of promoting local talent and to prepare it for the global audience, are we at our optimum, particularly when we talk about the Kenya Cultural Center?
First of all, the Kenyan Cultural Center, rather the theatre, is was currently renovated, and it's actually looking very good. You should go and experience it with your family. Take them for plays.
It neighbors me.
Oh yeah, KBC, yeah. So I love going there over the weekends, especially Sundays, just to watch plays. And it makes me so happy to see the kind of creativity that we have in this, the artists. Many plays, many poems, and you see a lot of youth coming to showcase their talent. And we give them this platform because this is where people sit back, relax, and watch you perform. And you find that they perform different types of plays. Just the other day at the Kenya Cultural Center, we had the play for Koitalel Arab Samoei, one of our Shujaz. And this year we're celebrating the 120th year since his murder. Note I said murder, not his death, murder. So we tend to celebrate these heroes, and you find that it is this generation of artists and creatives who come up with plays that, and then they perform, make money, put money in their pockets. And at the end of the day, Kenya Cultural Center is a stage that even internationally, we have the Kenya International Theatre Festival coming up next month. And this is a forum whereby we have over 20 nations coming to showcase their different art at this theatre. Remember, the theatre, we have the local artists who come to mingle, network with these foreign artists. And Kenya then is put in a platform of making cultural diplomacy and so on, the soft power part of diplomacy and the soft power part of international relations, as a very important tool. Because when you look at sports, we have the sports heroes. When you look at arts and culture, we have the cultural diplomacy and cultural heroes. So the KCC is a very important institution, and I would like to encourage all our youths to make use of it, because it's there for our youths to make use of it.
The Kenya National Archives records actually has our historical memory as a country. Working with your colleagues in government, how are you working to ensure accessibility to the facility, particularly for the youth? Because I mean, over the years, you've had complaints that our youth appear to be detached from the Kenyan history.
It's true.
What are we doing to ensure accessibility to this facility?
The archives came into place from an act of 1965, whereby its work is to document, preserve all our heritage under one roof. Now, fast track this to 2025. We are in a time where we have social media, we have modernization and digitization. So the youth usually look at archives as a meeting point, or if you get lost in Nairobi town, which I would use it as a place to say, listen, let's meet at the archives. That's the only place I would not, get lost at. And I want youth to go in. When you go in, it's more of, a cake building. But given that we have documentation and digitization of our heritage going on, which is being done by the Kenya National Archives, we are trying to have a situation where 50 years from now, our youth don't have to look at archives as a house for the old, as a boring old house, but a house that you can go and stay in touch and keep in touch with your history, your ancestors, and your Kenyan stories, Mau Mau stories, for instance. It's a beautiful house inside, but it comes a time where you have to admit that, listen, there's too much noise going on, because archives is also a place where researchers come to do their work. PhD students come to do their work, and there's matatu noise, there's no parking, there's also a lot of things that go on downtown, which I don't want to talk about. But for that safety and security of a researcher, of a tourist, we're thinking, why don't we then look at a place that is conducive in terms of a place that has ample space for garden and ambience that can give a tourist, listen, I want to go back to Kenya again, and specifically to the archives. Another thing is digitization and documentation. So we have all the photos, the videotapes, if you remember the VHS tapes, we have all that. But with time, we moved from that to the tapes, the radio tapes that we used to use pens to, rewind and so on. Yeah. So for me to sit in my office and click on the website of Kenya National Archives and see exactly which document I want from a Mau Mau era, or a letter that was written to a certain chief back then, we have a website right now, and it was not there. It's up and running. This is part and parcel of the documentation I'm talking about. Apart from that, an accessibility in terms of a click of a button away. You have your phone. A phone has an application. We're working towards having an application that takes you straight to the archives. When you look at things like the first flag, the cow flag, if you know, maybe you don't know, I'll just tell you. The first flag that we have as a nation was a party flag for cow. That flag is the one that initially was being used as a party's flag, but then right now we use it as our nation flag. So that first flag is at the archives. And I'm sure this heritage and this story is not known by a lot of our youth.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage them to go there, see this cow flag, TikTok it, snap it, let the world know that, listen, I'm in touch with my creativity or with my heritage. So content creation should not be a boring thing of just sitting in a room and just taking, content as you speak to us. Make it exciting. Let me walk with you. Go to Lamu. Show me the Lamu Museum. Show me Fort Jesus. Show me the Turkana boy. The oldest human fossil is at the National Museums of Kenya. And this fossil was found in the year 1984 in Turkana. And it was 1.6 years old then. So do your math. Right now it's 2-point-something million years. That is why we say Kenya is the home of human origin. Imagine doing your content creation by coming to the National Museums of Kenya, shooting this, you would get a lot of followers.
And it is allowed?
It is allowed, yes, it is.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And I think they can take up on that promise.
Yeah, they can. Why not?
Let's go back to the Bashir Jadi celebrations. And I want us to talk about cultural diplomacy. We had guests, for example, like the Senegalese president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. We had also the Prime Minister of Mozambique. Do you think we put up a good show that we can use for cultural diplomacy? And while at it, what efforts are we inputting towards that aspect of cultural diplomacy?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. His Excellency the President is a Pan-Africanist. And the fact that he invited the President of Senegal to come and celebrate Bashir Day with us here in Kenya was an honor. Because now the Senegalese President would now see that there's cultural diplomacy in play, and that the cultural diplomacy part of international relations is actually being implemented by African leaders. Now, when it comes to celebrating national days and inviting presidents, sitting presidents, it's not a walk in the park because, as we know, presidents are very busy. But for us to catapult ourselves to that national level in terms of diplomacy and cultural diplomacy more so, is a first-hand experience on what Kenyan art, because in Kitui the other day, we witnessed art from the Kamba people, dance from the Kamba people. The food that we had was from the Kamba people. So the Senegalese president did not only experience Nairobi, but he also experienced a town called Kitui, which I'm sure would put us on the map globally when it comes to diplomacy and also having that relation of soft power between ourselves as a nation and other African nations. So I think it was a great thing that the Senegalese president also helped the president award our heroes. He was not just there as a guest, but he also did the work of awarding our heroes, which I was really proud of. Yeah.
As we wind up, PS, I know we have always spoken about culture being cool, and it's one of the parameters to gauge your success in the State Department. But over the years, and in the years to come, because we also have a vision 2030, where do you want to see the State Department, particularly the agenda of making culture cool again?
By the year 2030, I envision a State Department that is so rich in content in terms of culture and having museums that are state-of-the-art museums and up-to-date museums and cultural centers that are being used by the youth in terms of acting, in terms of singing, and also job creation. And that is what we are doing as a nation. As this regime, we are trying to create jobs for the youth. And the easiest way around this is to use means like Ushanga, the beadwork that we have as a nation. So 2030 is the year I see that the State Department for Culture and Arts and Heritage will have an online e-commerce platform that will actually be selling these products, the Kamba carvings, the Kisi soapstone, the Lamu kofias. These are products that someone in New York wants to buy, but sadly they can't come to Masai Mara to purchase. So we're working on e-commerce platform called Sana, which is a very, very good marketplace, an online marketplace like Amazon and Alibaba, whereby we want a situation where there's different languages. As a German, you can purchase your products and it will be delivered to you. So as the State Department of Culture, Arts and Heritage, in another 10 years, I see this department to have expanded in such a way that everybody would want to be part of this success story for the State Department. We have exhibitions at the National Museums of Kenya where we encourage an inter-county competition between artists to showcase their products, and you find tourists actually purchase these arts. We have exhibitions in other museums across the globe, and we also have the same here in the National Museums of Kenya. If you go to Fort Jesus, you'll find the Oman exhibition. We have the Indian exhibition at the National Museums of Kenya. So a country that wants to showcase its product and its assets at the National Museums of Kenya has to have that conversation with the National Museums of Kenya, and we encourage that so that we can appreciate if it's the Chinese culture, if the Japanese culture, if it is whichever culture that you feel you want to showcase, we have exhibition spaces for you. And these are not permanent exhibitions. So you're given like 6 months, you showcase, 3 months, you showcase, you leave, you use that space for another exhibition. Yeah.
Fantastic. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. We've been speaking to the Principal Secretary, State Department for Culture, the Arts and Heritage, accessing and of course getting to understand the Kenyan cultural past and what the steps that we've been able to make as a country in terms of protecting our cultural heritage. That's why we put a cap on Prime Edition. Good night.